Hey, Jason, can you grab a couple chairs, please? Did you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to call the regular monthly meeting of the Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District, Monday, June 8, 2020, to order. Please rise.
I'd like to have a moment of silence for 4 firefighters who lost their life in May, followed by prayer. Dear God, we come this evening and we give honor to those who have made a sacrifice for others. And we pray, Lord, that during this loss, you'll be with the families that are dealing with the loss and watch over them. Lord, we pray to continue watch over our firefighters and their families during this time, and the administrators, just give them wisdom as they lead, and the councilmen, and just, Lord, watch over us all during these days where it seems so confusing in some ways. We ask for your grace and your guidance. It's in Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public comment on agenda items this evening? Okay, I need a motion for the approval of the May 11, 2020 budget workshop minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May 11, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Motion?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need one motion for May 2020 and current expenditures and ACH payments, acknowledgement of financial report, acknowledgement of wire transfers and transfers between accounts, and budget purchase orders over $10,000.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up, our final audit, Jeff Brown. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Well, I mean, some of it, we can roll with it. Some of us have it on our, we have a couple of us have it electronically, but, so.
If there's any questions, sir, just we'll make a footnote on it, and when they come in, Jeff
Sure.
can address it at that time.
Yep. Nope, I apologize for that. That's my fault. For the record, Jeff Brown, Ashley Brown and Company, here to briefly present your audit for the fiscal year, September 30th, 2019. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but if you know, just stop
Yeah,
me.
I'm glad of that, because
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
read the whole thing today.
It put you right to sleep, for sure. Yeah, no, it's a good cure for insomnia. I'll just kind of briefly go over the layout of the statements. The first thing that's in here is our independent auditor's report, and it's a 3-page report, and on the second page, and it's got kind of bold header types where it lays out what your responsibilities are and what our responsibilities are as your auditors. These are all your financial statements. It's all presented by and prepared by your finance department. We just issue the actual half a dozen or 10 pages or so of the actual opinions that are in here. But on the second page, it states that in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the activities. So with that, the old term was unqualified. Unmodified is what they call a clean opinion, basically. It means the financial statements as they were prepared by your staff were in accordance with government accounting standards. We didn't have to make any adjustments, changes. There were no issues at all. So it's a good reflection that your staff is keeping compliant.
Nice job, Lisa.
Absolutely. Nope, they're doing as they should. On page 1 starts what we call the management's discussion and analysis, and as it is a lengthy document, if you haven't, I do encourage you just to kind of read this. It provides a nice summary of the financial report. It's 6 pages long or so. It's got some comparative data in there for fiscal year 18, fiscal year 19. It kind of is in a narrative format, and it is relatively informative. The actual financial statements themselves start on page 7, and this is the statement of net position. The purpose of this statement is to basically value, if you will, all the district's assets and liabilities as of that snapshot date, September 30th, 2019. So it's not only has your cash and your receivables, investments, and those sort of things, but it also has what we call the net depreciated value of all your equipment, buildings, and that sort of thing. But the point of it is if you get all the way down to the bottom, the total net position, which is a mathematical formula, basically assets minus liabilities, that number's positive. So that's a good thing. Your assets are in excess of your total liabilities by just about 7.6 million. And then the next page, on page 8, is what we call a statement of activities. And this is the full accrual version of all the revenues and all the expenses for the district. So it kind of ends with that same $7.6 million net position that I was talking about, but the more important part, I guess, to the equation there is that your net position is actually increasing. So it increased almost 5 million, 4.8 million. You started the year with 2.7 and you ended with 7.6. So there's about a $4.8 million increase, which that encapsulates everything. The full accrual of all the revenues, all the expenses, pension liabilities, all that sort of stuff is in there. So it's not just a cash number, if you will. There is like a second set of financial statements in here, which are the balance sheet and statement of revenues, expenditures, changes in fund balances. And this is more on what they used to call like the old governmental accounting statements. Basically, it's just cash. Here, how much cash do we have? How much is coming in the next 60 days from receivables? And what do we have on the books for payables? So it's more of like a budget statement almost that you kind of look to see what are we carrying forward to the next fiscal year. But again, here, positive numbers, total fund balances, just over 12 million. And it also does delineate what you've assigned there for reserves, sort of for operations, disaster, insurance, future capital planning. So it does kind of break out those assignments of what we call fund balance. And then there's another schedule, statement of revenues, expenditures, changes in fund balances, and this is more of the cash basis of your income statement. But the point of it here is that after everything was all said and done, just about 669,000 is what your revenues exceeded expenses by, expenditures. So even taking debt service, that's one of the main differences between the two schedules. In accounting world, debt payments aren't expenses, they're just reducing a liability. On this statement, they actually are shown as like an outflow of resources. So that's sort of why even still, we look at both of them. Net position's increasing and fund balance is increasing. It just implies that the district is financially sound. The notes to the financial statements are long. I'm not going to go through those. There are a couple schedules in the back if you're interested of the changes in long-term debt. Kind of shows you where you started the year with, where you ended the year with, what the principal reduction was, that sort of thing. And then in the very back is you have your budget to actual schedules, total expenditures that were appropriated. You didn't overspend your budget, obviously, so that's a good thing. That is something that we do, that we are checking. There's a couple other reports in here from us. One of them is our report on your internal control and compliance, and there's two positive statements in here all the way back on page 85 that say, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. And then again, under compliance and other positive statements, the results of our test disclose no instances of noncompliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards. There's also a management letter to you. There's references in here to Florida statute, rules of the Auditor General, all positive statements. The district is in compliance with all the financial matters that we are required to test. And that's about it. So with that,
That's a good report.
yes, it's a very good, clean report. No issues.
Well,
Yes, sir.
good news, we're going to be around for another year.
Very true, very true. But at least, well, we know now, but for at least this many months, we're already in June, so that's, yes.
So Jeff, there was no negatives whatsoever in the
Not
report
a
itself?
one, no,
Okay.
no current year managed, no, what we call formal management letter comments that, things that need to be changed, corrected, nothing that was brought up in the prior year that we would also look to see if it's been corrected, changed, whatever. There was no, what we call prior year or current year comments at all. Yes,
Well,
sir.
again, kudos to
Yep.
Lisa and her staff.
No, they do a good job. We appreciate it. We're not the most fun to deal with. So when we ask we're asking for invoices, cancel check, banks, so we appreciate their patience
Well,
with us.
that's why you're here, because that's keeps our peace of mind.
Absolutely, and that's what, I mean, and again, I just remind, we work for you, I mean, we're independent totally,
Right.
so if there's anything else that we can do throughout the year to help you, please reach out to us or let them know, and be more than happy to help with whatever we can.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
You always do a nice job. It's nice to have you back.
No, nice to see you all again, and I apologize for not bringing
Not a-
500.
Doesn't matter.
pieces of paper, so.
And Chairman,
Well, it's 500 a copy, isn't it?
they also go out and climb on the trucks when they want to look at, hey, we need this piece of equipment. So they do a thorough job.
All right.
We need a motion.
Okay, Commissioner's business. Commissioner
Chairman,
Murphy?
we need a motion to accept the audit.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad, I knew that. Can we,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thanks again, Joe. Commissioner's business. Commissioner Murphy?
Not tonight.
Priscilla?
Again, just want to thank the chief of staff and the boots on the ground for going through this pandemic and coming through smelling like roses. Good job. Thank
Thank
you.
Commissioner Slakta?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Wonderful letter. It's good to see that the fire commissioners recognized you, and I can remember my family up in New York State calling, and he said it was all over the news. So it was quite a fire. It was really a fire down in Naples and all that. So great job. Thank you.
Commissioner Machado?
Just echo what the commissioner said. You guys, you and your staff chief have done a phenomenal job. We got a unbelievable report just now from Ashley and Brown, which I don't know how long, you guys been in the business a long time. You don't hear reports like that. You're doing a fantastic job all the way around, you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment too, and again, thanks to everybody for extenuating circumstances, to say the least.
And the
of
face
working-
mask.
Working conditions, yeah. Well, some of us are prettier with them on, that's for sure.
Definitely.
But I know I guess, I don't want to jinx it, but going through all of this without any positive cases means that everybody has been really, really, really doing their jobs, because, let's face it, I mean, you're putting yourself in harm's way every time you go out there, and we're doing all the right things, and let's keep up the good work. Any old business tonight?
I do, but I'll do it in my report, sir.
We could talk about the,
Yeah.
okay, that's the only thing I had, so. New business. The resolution amending general employees' retirement system to add part-time employees to the plan, and I guess the impact statement is all part of that. I guess we need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
And now any discussion?
I've been going on my 6th year as a commissioner now, and I've noticed a very, very small number of people who are in this category. And I think that this is something that would not affect us in any significant manner, and I think it's a very good gesture on our part to do this.
Any other comments?
I just like to, the chief did a search on this, research on this, and I'd like you to explain what came back as far as the impact on
the
the-
impact statement.
impact
As you
statement.
guys did get an impact statement, we had Foster and Foster do an impact statement on there. And it basically says right now, for the general employees, we pay projected 32%, and it's going to go down to 30.3. So it is a savings, because now more people will be paying into the actual pension fund. Now, with that being said, I would be remiss if I didn't say the number will go up, because payroll now is going to get bigger by $25,000, $35,000, $45,000. So there's going to be more money going into it, but the percentage of that is lower. So, and that's indicative, and that's on there as a footnote number 1 on the information that was given to you.
The only concern that I have, and it's right now, it's not a concern, okay? But setting a precedent for down the road, what's the chances that we're going to have, 20 or 30 part-time employees? And that's the thing that concerns me. It sure doesn't concern me with what we have now, but what always concerns me is decisions that we make today will stay until it's rescinded, and once a benefit is given, it's never taken back. I'm okay with it. I support it. The question I ask is what are the long-term ramifications for the district if at some point we cut back and go to part-time? That means that, I guess, that's my question.
Well, to answer that, I'm going to answer it in two ways. The first way is if it's a bargaining unit position, we cannot do part-time. As part of the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, they do
Okay.
not allow any part-time
That's all I
personnel
need to hear.
whatsoever.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Okay, Chief, you're up.
All right, I just have a few things to go over. First thing was, I just wanted to make you aware of the thank you letter that we got from Greater Naples. On that, it stated, it's a 36th Avenue fire. As it stated on there, there's 8,600 acres that were burned, 45 structures and multiple vehicles. We had crews down there for at least 2 days. Myself, I, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I spent the night down there. Was there for almost 36 hours. Leading a strike team of engines down there because I'm on the countywide IMT team and they need someone to stay all night. So that's a positive thing. We did a great job. And on another positive thing, the federal government deemed it as a federal case. So we are getting reimbursed for our time, our effort, and our backfill.
Hopefully before you
It's a little
retire.
cherry on top.
Hopefully before you retire.
Yeah.
They have a time to
Actually,
see the
they've
drag their
been,
feet.
over the last couple of years, they've been very, very good. I think we got Hurricane Michael, or we got one the other day. It was made out to the pension plan, but I think it was for Hurricane Dorian, that we had some backfill and so on. We sent a team away to the other coast. They just, it's kind of like the checks in the mail. They just post-dated it and put the wrong name. Now they're going to keep it a little bit longer. But yeah, we're getting that back. So they've been very good about reimbursement.
Chief,
So-
do they mention like how much you might be getting back?
Usually it's either 75 or a actual cost. And like even our truck, they give us a certain dollar amount for the truck and the fuel.
Obviously, you have to fill out paperwork to
Yes.
submit what you have, yeah.
We just submitted that today and we got it, that it was received by, his name's Conkey, John Conkey at the state of Florida. So then he will forward up to FEMA after he does his little crosses the Ts and checks the Is and checks everything out, so.
It's been quite a year for big events with the car fires,
Yeah.
and this.
Oh, yeah.
It's been quite an adventure this year.
Yeah, then you sprinkle in a little COVID-19, so.
Oh, yeah, well, that's just on
A lot
top.
of things were said that if the Wood ever became chief, what would happen? And look what happened.
Yeah, that's Armageddon. The next thing I have on there, I sent you guys all an email last Friday, about the taxable value increase, and our taxable value went up to $12.134 billion. That's the initial estimate. We'll get the firm numbers July, but that's what we're going.
Generally speaking, the firm number is usually higher than this.
It goes up at least a couple percentage points, so
Yeah.
we're at like 2.4. I would anticipate it going up to 2.6, 2.75 would be the final number, maybe a little higher, knocking on wood. So for us, what's that mean is we're going to start formulating our budget, doing our budget request through the internal process. We have a meeting June 26th internally to go through, and I will have my first veto power, and obviously when we have our meeting with you guys, we'll do the veto power also on that, what we need, what we want, and we'll go from there and how we're going to attack the millage. The next thing I have is, if you recall, a couple months ago, I came to you about changing the flooring at stations 1 and 2. We originally wanted to put polished concrete on there. We had got a bad estimate, and it ended up being a lot more, so we did vinyl flooring in there. We had budgeted right at, I think, $38,000. It came in about $18,000 to do those 2 stations, so we had $18,000 left over. Because of the carpet in this station and in Station 5, we got another estimate, and I've decided to go ahead and spend that money out for another $15,000 and get both stations done. That way, all our stations with the bunk rooms will have either polished concrete or a vinyl flooring.
Makes sense.
Was it a planking or was it vinyl sheeting?
Vinyl sheeting, snapped together vinyl sheeting. Floor Meisters came in, we got 3 bids originally. They came in with the lowest bid, so we just stayed with them to do the other 2 stations. They should be completed by the end of next week, Jason? 29th. So that's on the agenda. I just wanted to let you know that. Get approval to go ahead with it. I've got it scheduled, but obviously if the board's
We don't need a
against it-
motion for that, we just need a consensus.
Just a consensus. So we had the money in the budget. It's more than $10,000 if we
It's
add
actually
both
gonna,
together.
actually, we're ahead of the game, man, getting the work done. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Good. You're all set.
On a positive note, and again, I've spoke to you about doing presentations in the future. We'll do one, but Jason Brode, Battalion Chief, or Deputy Chief Jason Brode was promoted June 1st, and he had his first little fire by baptism. We had his state inspection for our fire facility, and we passed it. So
Good.
Jason facilitated that and went out there with the state inspector, so we got it passed. So I'd like to thank him, and Deputy Chief Madden obviously showed him how to do it, and Eric kept it good out there. The next thing I have, I would like to,
What, the presentations are going to be done in,
July or August for the
Yeah.
promotions and for, we'll go back for pins.
Sure.
Years of service pins and promotions.
Okay.
Since we didn't do any in April or May or June, we'll catch up in July and August.
Cool.
And then continue on, as long as we don't have a rebound effect with COVID-19. What I'd like to have, again, is a consensus. I'd like to go out to bid. We've been talking about the AV system here. We have it in the budget. I've talked to Antonio. We've got a back of the envelope, price of over $50,000. So because of our internal rules and regulations, we have to go out to bid on that. It's got to be a sealed bid. So I'd like permission to go out for a sealed bid with the equipment. We have an equipment list and what we need done. I will put that, we will run an ad in the paper, and we will collect sealed bids and probably do that sometime in July and August to have the bids ready.
So move.
yeah, of course.
I think we just need a consensus.
We had the money,
to go.
we had a substantial amount of
Yes,
money in the budget for that
175.
anyway, so, yeah, we got plenty of wiggle room there.
So I just wanted to let you know and get a consensus that we're going to go out to bid for that sealed bid.
Good.
We kind of mentioned it before, is the union is not doing the parade this year because of COVID-19, because of social distancing. The city themselves is not doing a festival at all, but they are doing fireworks. We have a meeting with them Friday the 12th, initial kickoff meeting to see where they're going to do it, what's going to happen, how they're going to facilitate it. The initial talks, obviously no festival, no nothing, just basically stay in your car and watch the fireworks go off is the initial reaction of what they're going to do. I have some concerns. I know the Lee County SO may have some concerns based on my research. Everglades City, us, and Northport are the only three cities or areas doing fireworks from Palm Beach County around to Sarasota County.
Won't that create a surge of people into this area?
We believe so, and that's what this meeting's going to be about.
And if you can't get out of your car, it's going to have to be in a pretty significant area.
It is, and in the past, they've done it downtown, and the fireworks, based on the style and the amount of money they pay for the fireworks, it's not a quarter mile up in the air. It's a lower velocity firework where it doesn't go high. So I don't know what they're going to do again.
Well, not to upset anybody in the city, because that's not our job here, but do you have the authority to say, no, we don't want to do it?
No, I do not. I mean, what we do or may have the authority to do, if there was a burn ban, we could go through the fire marshal and say it's unsafe, but we can't do that. The burn ban's over. The Lee County Board of Commissioners have lifted the burn ban, so that's still there. The only other thing that, that we could do, and we've never done it in the past, is say, all right, they issue a special events permit, and we say they need 3 fire trucks there to watch it, or to do something, or to facilitate either the fireworks themselves, or for first aid, or for whatever. We could charge for that. We've never done that in the past.
Well, it's got to be a bigger hassle for LCSO.
Well, and
than
I
it is
think
us.
that's where it's going to come down to, is LCSO will have the lion's share of what's going to happen, because they're going to have to deal with the influx of traffic, parking, the MOT plan, which is the movement of traffic plan, what they're going to shut down, what roads they're going to shut down, how long they're going to shut down. Because if you remember before, we'd had the festival downtown and or the parade. I think the union spent in upwards of $600 just for that movement of transport plan, and then they had to rent all the signs and barricades and or get with Lee County SO to rent deputies or to pay a detail for deputies to stand at those crosswalks. So I think that's where, the city's going to have to look at and see where are they going to have it, and what does that entail for a MOT plan, as they call
Well,
it.
it begs the
shutdown.
question, if we're either going to do 4th of July or we're not.
I thought the city was not going to do it.
They,
And we're
on
not
June
doing it
3rd
for-
they had a meeting June 3rd that lasted until 11 o'clock? 10:30, 11 o'clock. And at the final, let's call it the final hour, they decided to do fireworks only, no festival, no,
But there's still going to be a lot of people at that.
Yeah.
So what is it, what's the, I'm confused.
Well, and that's what, we're having the first kickoff meeting on the 12th, then that Chief Scott's going to attend, then we'll have subsequent ones after that.
But we're not having a parade.
We are not having a parade. The union has decided not because they thought it rightfully so irresponsible to, line the streets of Old 41.
I'm not sure which city it was, but somewhere in Southwest Florida has rescheduled it for September. They're going to do a kind of a fireworks and, celebration in September.
Yeah, rumor at one time, and I had conversation with the city manager. At one time, her and I had talked about maybe doing a festival like that for Labor Day.
Right.
Doing fireworks and so for Labor Day. Hamburgers, hot dogs, the whole little
Sure.
thing downtown.
Well, you could combine it with 9/11.
Yeah, or September 11th, any one of those.
Although ones that,
Or even to you, Commissioner Slacka, even Veterans Day, take it down to November 11th and do it on Veterans Day.
Yeah. And by the way, we always had a truck, like you had 3 trucks. We had a truck for Flag Day, and we're not doing Flag Day, so.
So, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention that they are still having it, and we will keep you guys apprised.
is that a definite they're going to have it, or is it?
They have voted on it June 3rd, they voted on it, and it's a go.
I know the sheriff's a political animal as well, and he doesn't want to look like a bad guy, but he does have the authority to squash it. And he might just say, this has all the ingredients to be a total nightmare. If we get the influx, if they're doing that few of fireworks around the state, we're going to have a ton of people here.
And
Well, I'm just baffled by this. I'm just baffled that if you're either going to do it or just not do it, but to just take one segment of it and not do the rest of it, plus the expense and the logistics to pop up a 20-minute fireworks
Yeah,
show, it
and
just
I'll
doesn't
keep
make
everybody apprised on how it goes. I mean, maybe they will. I personally don't think that they will. It was a 5-2 vote on city council to do this. But we'll see where it comes out, and I will keep everybody apprised, like I said. The next thing on my list is just so everybody's aware, the COVID-19 calls still are trending down. From April to May, we ran approximately 493 calls, and 96 of those were COVID-related or pandemic-related. For May and June, we had 568 calls, and 102 of them, about 17%. So it is trending down a little bit, which is a positive. I know Chrissy has talked to you already, but just a reminder about the qualifying deadlines for the 2 positions that are open, due Friday at noon. And my last thing is it's hurricane season. We're already on our 3rd named hurricane, so they're predicting it's going to be a overactive year, but being an overactive year doesn't mean landfall. It just means that there may be more storms. But we're already on our 3rd one. Other than a little rain event here that we could use the rain, no effects in Bonita Springs. And that's all I have, and I
Thank you. Nice
open
job.
for questions.
Anybody got any questions?
Just one about, I understand that our brush truck was damaged in the fires in Golden Gate?
Not in the fires in Golden Gate. That was our fire that we had here, the little 50-acre fire over by BSU. And we lost a couple tires.
Okay.
There was no physical damage
So
to
that
the
was an
truck
easy
other than
fix.
tires, which, in doing research with myself and Chief Madden and Chief Broad and Chief Scott, this is the first time in, I think, 5 years that we bought tires for the brush truck. So
And those tires aren't cheap, are they?
they're not bad. And they're not as much as you would think. They're roughly $500-600
Supposed to
a piece.
replace them every 5 years anyway, no matter how many miles they go.
Well, and I will say this, that our EVT program has done a great job. What they do is when we get, let's say the ladder truck needs new tires or they're marginal, we'll just keep them and use them as spares for the brush truck, so that way we don't have to go out and buy a brand new one for it to go in the woods and get a sidewall popped. And historically, we have new ones that if we need to take the brush truck, let's say to Orlando or Volusia County like we've done in the past, we would switch them out before they go with greater ones. But to drive around here less than 30, 40, 50 miles an hour and in the woods, we do our due diligence and try and use them.
Makes sense. Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Assistant Chief Scott?
I have nothing.
Deputy Chief Madden? Deputy Chief Broad? And we read your report, Fire Marshal Washburn. it was kind of funny reading it. I mean, not funny, but, you know, I'm looking at it, and I'm going, can this be right? You know? But doing several hundred in 1 month and then none the next. But nice job. I mean, that was really good, moving resources around to get caught up on some things that sometimes fall through the cracks. So very nice job. Any public comment? Alex Grant, I can't quite read what this says, but.
Just stay here that way.
Yep.
And not. Okay.
Although, I don't know, are you okay with that for?
Sure. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, what I did, I just have a letter for the administration and that's it. And I'll let you, give you a few
I'll give you a
days
copy.
to go through that, et cetera, et cetera. But
What's it in reference to? Because I can't read.
It's reference, I was here, what was it, last March 9th, as a request, and I'm making so-called an official public records request, Florida Statute 119, and you'll read the entire thing, so I don't want to.
So you have filed that with administration?
Yeah.
Just now.
Just now, not March 9th? Okay.
You guys get the copy.
I recall that. I think I instructed you to do that so that,
Yeah, well, anyway, and what I've done on there as a backup, on the first, the letter that I gave you before, I gave a reference on it that's attached to this, and this is the references on how many people that I counted. I had all the.
and this is for retirees? I still haven't seen the letter, so.
Okay, you have it, okay.
As long as it's been submitted, the chief will get his copies and.
If anybody has any questions, you've got my number, you can get in touch with me, but I can show you exactly.
This will be taken care of by administration.
But I've got,
Thank you. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Thanks for coming.